Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to talk about my top 3 recommendations for the upcoming Sephora VIB sale and whether or not you should even get them at Sephora or not. But first, if you're new, consider subscribing. This month we're doing ABH Norvina Volume 3 in the end of month giveaway. However, next month I've already picked out what I want to do for the giveaway, and I want to do the Natasha Denona Metropolis palette. So as long as you've subscribed and you've left me a way to contact you, you're automatically entered each month. So moving on to my top recommendations for the VIB sale. First off, the number one is the Pat McGrath Nocturnal Norvina palette. This palette had a very unique shift to it. This is more like an eyeshadow topper, and it retails for $65. So for the sale, you'd get it for either 20% off or 15% off, depending on whether you're VIB or not. Now, what's interesting is just in time for the sale, ABH Norvina released a new launch for the ABH Norvina Volume 1 and 2 Mini Pro Pigment palettes. They retail for $29 and they'll be available as soon as the Rouge VIB sale becomes available. Now, between the two, I'm more gravitating towards the green yellow one. However, I will say that these colors do look very, very similar to what they've already just released for $60 before. So if you do the math and you divide 60 by 25 shades, you would get approximately $2.2 per pan in the past, whereas now these pans are actually, if you were to get the same value, they should have cost you $21. Instead, it's costing you almost $29 to $30. So even with that Rouge discount, you are still probably paying too much for those minis. And my question is that once you buy those minis, and let's say you're a collector and you just want to have minis around, what is the real use for them other than travel? And if you're going to travel with these, I mean, I don't know, I guess you might be going to a Comic-Con or a special event. I don't know if this is a palette for a daily use, because they're called mini pros. So if you're a pro, and why do you want a mini? I don't understand. If you're a pro, you would probably want to have your big palettes around. Those minis just seem like a good idea for someone who wants something quick in their travel purse. And so they're selling these at Sephora at the same time as the Rouge VIB discount. And I still think that the bigger palettes are a much better deal, both price-wise and also function-wise, if you're really just buying the makeup to actually use and not to be a collector. Now, another thing to point out is the promo photos she used. She's wearing this outfit which reminds me of Anne Hathaway and Andy in The Devil Wears Prada. It's kind of interesting. I like that fashion sense. That reminds me of these old school movies from 10 years ago. And I don't know if that eyeshadow advertising works with this outfit. It kind of also reminds me of Iggy Azalea's attempt to share Clueless with the classroom. Now, promo photos aside, I think that this palette, I'm just trying to find a good function for it, other than, you know what, it's a new day and we need to release a new palette and we need to come up with new photos. So for me, I personally don't know if it's something of value that I would be wanting to carry around unless I'm, constantly doing bright looks. So both for the value and the function, I think the bigger palettes are a better investment. You could get a 20% off for the big palettes if you did the Beautylicious 20% off event. However, the mini palettes are only exclusive to Sephora. So unfortunately, that means the only time you can get a discount on these is through the VIB Rouge event. So again, another reason to pass on it. Now, in case you don't know who Norvina is, she's the daughter of Anastasia, who came into this country as a brow specialist, and I don't see any bright colors on her eyes at that time. But her daughter Norvina has created a sub-brand and taken it to new levels with these bright colors. For me, I still think that if you're going to pick one of them up this year, I'd probably go for the Norvina Volume 3. And I would probably skip those minis altogether. I think the only way the minis would be worth it is if it was your first time trying out her formula and you didn't want to spend $60. But then again, you could probably spend $60 and get a better discount at Ulta. My point is that unless something is entirely Sephora exclusive, usually Ulta, Beautylish, and other websites have better discounts than the Rouge VIB sale, which only goes if you've already spent $1,000 a year to become Rouge. Now, Hourglass Ghost Palette, the Ambient Ghost Palette, as well as the Too Faced Hot Buttered Rum were amongst my favorites this year, both price-wise and quality-wise. I think it's a good investment. So those are the products I would recommend getting from the Rouge sale. For me, I shop a lot of makeup, but I only enter Sephora if there's something that's exclusive to Sephora. And Sephora has been really good at getting brands to do exclusive contracts with them. However, for something like Too Faced Extra Spicy or Too Faced anything, you can usually get that at Ulta as well, unless it's a Sephora exclusive. Natasha Denona, unfortunately, it's only exclusive to well, these minis are exclusive to Sephora. So if you're going to pick up a Natasha Denona mini, I highly recommend that mini gold palette, because you can either get a 20 or 10% discount on there. The Hourglass palette is available both at Beautylish and other websites like Nordstrom. So even I think their own website has 20% off. So another palette I wanted to talk to you about was the Huda Nude palettes. Now, we talked about this in a previous video, so I won't go much through that. Bottom line is, if you already own the new nude palette and those colors actually show up on your skin tone, then I don't think it's worthwhile to buy the minis unless you want something for travel. However, if you want something more specified to your skin tone and talc is not a concern for you and it doesn't irritate you, then by all means pick that up. Natasha Denona Metropolis palette is something I picked up from Beautylish, and I'm giving away in the next month's giveaway. That's something might be worthwhile if you want to use your 20% off next month. However, like I said, Beautylish, if you spent $100, you already get $20 off any of these products, including the Metropolis palette. So basically, if you have to spend $1,000 a year to get 20% off Rouge, but if you would spent that $1,000 in Beautylish during that event, you would have gotten $200 off. So that's something to think about. Even Ulta, gives those 20% off more often during the year. So I just personally can't justify going to Sephora and spending that much to become Rouge again, only to get such a small discount. And the products, yes, they have exclusive products, but those products aren't, there's like one or two that might be good, but again, you could probably get those elsewhere. So like the Norvina Volume 3, that was something that was exclusively sold at Sephora, but you could also get that at ABH as well. So my thoughts are, if only thing that you could probably get a really good discount here at the Rouge event is probably the Pat McGrath minis. And again, I believe Pat McGrath also has some good discounts on her website also. So Sephora is not necessarily the best way to shop these days, especially with their policies, which I'll discuss in another video. Now, some people are interested in the glitters from Tati Beauty, but not interested in spending $49. The good news is Urban Decay came out with a new glitter palette called Party Favor, which kind of mimics those brown neutral colors that may be included later in the 20% off that Ulta does all the time. However, I don't think it'll be on time for the Sephora VIB Rouge sale. So for that, I still think that the hot buttered rum is probably the best palette for the lowest price that you can get, as well as some people have liked the Urban Decay Naked Honey. I don't think that palette was as good as the Natasha Denona Mini Gold. Even though you get less colors, I think it's definitely more portable and takes up less space, and you still get those neutral colors if you already own those browns and blacks in there. So my top recommendations would be that Natasha Denona Mini Gold and the Pat McGrath that we talked about earlier, as well as that one ABH that is exclusive to Sephora. for the VIB Rouge or VIB sale. Everything else I feel like are repeats, and you've probably seen them before and you'll see them again. And don't worry, these palettes will be recycled again in different names and different shades. So definitely I always encourage people to wait on things, because they usually, if they don't sell out right away, they will come back in January, the after Christmas sale, and you could probably pick them up later. And there's definitely no rush, because these brands aren't going anywhere, and they will, you know, find a way to repackage these products and get them in front of you in a different shape or form. So those are just my thoughts on these new releases, and those were my top picks, and I hope that you guys liked it. And let me know in the comment section below, what were your thoughts? What are you guys going to pick up? And as always, thank you again for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. I will see you guys next time. Thank you.